Good morning to you. As you can see, it's getting brighter, even as it's quite early in the capital, Nairobi, where we're coming to you live from 34 minutes per 6 a.m. Good morning from wherever you're watching us from. We're just reviewing the press, at the dailies rather, what you can expect in today's edition of The Standard and The Daily Nation. In studio, I'm joined by Marcus Angenga, who's a senior programs officer at ELOG, the Election Observation Group, and via way of Zoom from Kisumu, we're joined by Michael Agwanda, who's a governance expert. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and your patience. Let's continue interrogating some of these latest headlines. The curfew, as you've just seen, Angenga, it has been extended by 30 days yet again. And according to the CES for Health, Kagwe, he says, despite the low positivity rate, Kenya is still below the World Health Organization threshold of flattening the curve. Just reviewing the vaccination drive in the country, do you recommend such a move to extend the curfew, even as other health officials are questioning some of its practicability? It should be a short-term solution, not a long-term solution. How do you observe this?
Well, first, I think it is a good move to extend the curfew for another 30 days. Of course, Kenya belongs to a global community, and as you've already indicated, the WHO recommends a two-week below 5% positivity rate in order to ease some of the containment measures, and as such, we have not obtained that level. So, in accordance with the dictates of the World Health Organization, that I think suffices. But of course, this also calls for Kenyans that while we understand and appreciate the effects of curfew on the economy and on the livelihoods of Kenyans, this also calls for us as Kenyans to go out and be vaccinated. Because of course, for us to have a fully opened economy, you also need human beings to be fully functioning, to be healthy human beings. And of course, the government would be reckless to allow Kenyans to be fully operational when only less than 5% of our people have been vaccinated. So I think perhaps Kenyans should take the next 30 days to move out and get vaccinated, which then becomes a call of duty for every Kenyan.
Are you part of the Kenyans who are questioning the efficacy of the curfew? Because I'm sure you've interacted with individuals who highlight, I perhaps go to a social meetup between 12 and 7 p.m. when they're supposed to be closed. There's so much interaction, there's barely any physical distancing, you know? And then later on, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., that's when you're supposed to stay indoors. Come on.
I know, I mean, for most people, the curfew makes no sense. Of course, and for obvious reasons, and some of which you've just highlighted. But at the end of the day, these measures are supposed to help minimize contact. Of course, you're right that between midday all the way to the end of curfew, chances are that you've exposed yourself, sometimes even worse than what the bars, for instance, to be open. But I think that the fact that the government is still going on with these measures is an attempt really to help in the fight of this deadly virus. Of course, like I've said, we need to have as many of our people vaccinated and keep on holding to those measures against COVID-19.
That's well noted. Gwanda, as we have this discussion, even as we're sort of encouraging Kenyans to follow these guidelines by the Ministry of Health, are our politicians subscribing to the same set of rules? I beg to ask, because there was a ban on political gatherings, and looking at today's papers, most of them are quite busy going around the country. Raila 6 Northeastern Region, 1 million votes, even as Ruto has just concluded his tour of Kisii County, and we saw the numbers, the population of the people actually turning up for this particular political meeting. So what's your observation on all this?
My observation is that when you hear my colleague there speaking, I find him very academic on issue, more so on this COVID-19 protocol, and more so on the extension of 30 days. One question that everybody has asked, Jesse, is does COVID-19 travel faster between 10 o'clock and 4 o'clock in this country than, during daytime when people are so packed into buses and into matatis and people are in, social gathering, they're at work. And you can see that, you rightfully said, in the evening before the closure time, people don't care about the social spacing. But the only remedy is if everybody is vaccinated. Let me give you something, Jesse, that really surprised me. Last month, I was actually at KTN offices in I&M Bank at the city. I was doing an interview there, and then when I walked just a stair down, I found a place that looked like a clinic. And so I asked one of the gentlemen there, what is happening here? And they told me, oh, they're giving vaccines there. I had not taken a vaccine, Jesse. I walked in there and I asked, which type of vaccine are you guys issuing today? And they told me you're issuing Johnson & Johnson. I said, great, I have not taken one and I would really love to take one. Okay. You know what they told me? They told me, no, you can't take it. It only belongs to I&M Bank staff. I said, what are you talking about? And so as my colleague is talking about people getting out there to be vaccinated, there's already a bit of discrimination on some vaccine that some people who are even going out there. This happened to me. Who are going out there and volunteering to be vaccinated are being turned away because the corporate have already bought the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, and therefore they're not allowing any other person there. Just about 2 weeks after that, there were those very vaccines being given by NCBA, and it was being given by NCBA in Upper Hill within their bank premises. I walked in there and they allowed the public to do this. The question is, are we talking about vaccine for everybody and holding some vaccine for some specific people? That should not happen in this country. No one should able to walk into a vaccine giving place and then be turned away like I was turned away. And the question is, why are we finding just some vaccines within the corporations or quote unquote, big corporations and not in the hospitals and not in the villages? If you're talking about the vaccines and we really want to expedite the distribution of vaccines in this country, it should find itself in every marketplace, because in those marketplaces I was in, they were just yesterday, you find hundreds and thousands of people in those marketplaces. They don't care about the social spacing you're talking about. The government must be intentional about this vaccine, and they must go to the people to get the vaccine and not just to wait for it in conferences and in press conferences and hope that people will get this vaccine if they're not distributing it. But again, on the issue of the politician, let me tell you, if we look at the way the politicians are moving in this country, then the truth of the matter is there is no reason for you to extend the curfew in this country. There's absolutely no reason. If we are allowing our politicians to walk around, and if you are just making, a press statement in Upper Hill, and not making sure that these politicians are able to respect the protocol, the COVID protocol, then we are cheating ourselves.
Okay, well noted. And of course, a sharp divide on the enforcement by the police officers, even as there are more details covered on why exactly the Ministry of Health decided to extend the curfew for another 30 days. Remember, it was supposed to expire, I think, on the 19th of October, just before the Madaraka Day celebrations. But be that as it may, I'd like us to shift